It's Monday, the 4th of May 2026, and it's Bank Holiday Monday if you're here in the UK. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about how I'm setting up my summer shred for 2026. But before we start, we need a calendar. There it is. Check it out. The Guide Dogs 2026 calendar. Can't believe we are in May already. Now the reason I've got the calendar is because I have 3 upcoming trips, holidays that I'm working towards as a bit of a goal as part of my summer shred. Put that down now. Number 1, we have our annual 12-day kind of big holiday that we have once per year, island hopping around Greece, which is 4 weeks on Tuesday. That takes us to the first week of June, and that is kind of goal number 1. Trip number 2 is 10 weeks away. That's a birthday weekend trip to Skiathos. Again, 10 weeks away, so a little bit more time, another Greek trip. You start to get the picture by now. And finally, to wrap up this year's summer shred, trip number 3 is to Kefalonia, and that's in 17 weeks time. So that's quite a way away yet. But why is this important, and why am I rabbiting on about these trips that I'm working towards? Quite simply, I find for me personally, I stick to my fat loss goals a lot better when I have a deadline to work towards. If there's no deadline, there's no urgency when it comes to fat loss, particularly when you're trying to get lean. But it doesn't just have to be a holiday. A holiday is just one example. It could be a birthday, it could be a wedding anniversary, it could just be a day in the calendar you're going to go shopping and buy yourself some new clothes. It could be something a little bit more challenge based, like a DEXA scan or a photo shoot. They're all really common examples of things I've used in the past and things I use with my clients to help them stick to their fat loss goals. I also want to say there's no reason why you can't lose fat and get amazing results without a deadline. I just prefer having one to push me further as part of that goal. And I find if I map these out in the calendar, it breaks up the fat loss phase. It doesn't make me feel like, oh God, I've just got months and months of dieting now. It gives me little targets to work towards. So I know I've got 4 weeks, I've got 10 weeks, and I've got 17 weeks to spread that fat loss phase across, and I've also got some little diet breaks and holidays in there to look forward to. I also think as a PT, it's really important for people like me to lead from the front and kind of show you and my clients that I can do what I'm promoting people to, and I'm doing what I'm asking you to do as well. So that's why I'm also really motivated to make a success of a fat loss phase every year I choose to do it. I also would never want to be one of those fitness people or PTs or coaches that kind of talks a good game behind the screen, but then secretly eats 4,000 calories a day in Monster Munch and custard creams. And believe me, there are some trainers who will do that. So what am I going to be doing from a training, nutrition, steps, and mindset point of view? I'm currently doing 4 workouts per week in the gym, and this is a full body push and pull split. At the moment, I tend to train Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it is literally in that order: full body push, full body pull, full body push, full body pull. This allows me to hit all main muscle groups at least twice per week across those 4 sessions. I'm also doing 20 minutes of extra cardiovascular work after training to boost my kind of calorie expenditure for that day and help me kind of boost my deficit and therefore lose a little bit more body fat across the week. Nutrition, the big one. So in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you how I set up my calorie targets and how I work out my maintenance calories to then set up my nutrition. I'm going to show you now how I calculate my maintenance calories and figure out what deficit I'm aiming to stick to and my target calories each day. Now there's loads of calculations online, and you know what, most of them are pretty good. They're not going to come out that different, but a nice easy one I like to use because it uses one of the best calculations you can is on the bodyscanuk.com website, and you don't even need an account on here. I have used Bodyscan for a DEXA a couple of times in the past. They're really good, but you don't need an account. It's totally free to do this. All you need to do is scroll down to the bottom and click on calculators. It will ask you if you have a Bodyscan DEXA report. Although I have an old one now, I'm just going to click no just to show you how to set this up. And then it's going to ask you for a few details. So again, your gender,
your age, I'm going to put mine in there, your weight in kilos, and your height. So I'm going to put my height in there, 182, and my weight, which is 80 kilos. It's then going to ask me to select my activity level. Now, this is really important because you don't want to over kind of send this. Now, it gives me my resting metabolic rate. So for those of you who don't know what this is basically the amount of calories you burn at rest. So if you were to wake up in the morning and not move an inch from your bed all day, you were to just lie there, this is roughly how many calories you would burn, which is quite a lot. But we've still got to add exercise on top of that. So I am training 4 times a week. I am doing 12 to 15 steps per day. That's going to be 15,000 more consistently. Now we're getting into the shred season. So I'm going to go for moderately active. Now, as you can see, it then comes up with a number here of your maintenance calories are approximately 2,778 per day. Now, what this means is that if I wanted to just maintain where I'm at, this is the amount of calories I would be aiming for daily. Now, you can go one step further and put in how much fat you'd like to lose over how many weeks. But quite simply, I just take that number and we'll create a deficit off the back of that. So for those of you who do or don't know this, you would want to minus 500 calories off that number if you are looking to lose 1 pound per week. If you wanted to lose 2 pounds per week and closer to a kilo, you would go to 1,000 calories per week. Really easy rule of thumb. I'm looking to be somewhere in the middle of that. So I am aiming for 2,000 to 2,100 calories per day, which should get me at least a pound, if not slightly over a pound, maybe 1.5 pounds per week. It is that simple. So that's my calorie average that I'm going to be looking to hit. I'm also going to be using a data tracking sheet. This is the one I use from one of my tutors, mentors, and coaches who I work with, called James Sutton. And I will use this to keep me accountable and track my data. So as you can see, I will record my daily calories here, my macros here. I probably won't record too much on some of the other stuff like energy, stress, but the main ones I'm going to record are daily calories, macros, any kind of off-plan food or comments where maybe I've been out for dinner. I'll log my resistance training, you know, how much cardio I did on that day, my steps, and then my body weight over here to keep me accountable. I will do a future video on what foods I'm actually eating, but my aim is by the end of the week, if I give you an example on here, if we use this week, I would be aiming to consume 2,000 calories on average. So let's plug in some numbers here just to show you. As you can see, this is hypotheticals, but if I ate like this, I would average 2,100. So I'd be at my goal basically. So that's how I'm going to stay on top of that, and those are the numbers that I'm going to be working towards.
Now, in terms of steps, I tend to average 12,000 steps per day anyway. That's definitely not a, oh, look at me. It's more just because I own a Labrador that needs walking every day. And I also do 5 to 6 hours of one-to-one PT work, mornings, Monday to Friday. So as you can imagine, between walking the Labrador and doing 5 to 6 hours of PT most mornings, I'm getting quite a few steps from that. But I'll be aiming to increase this to 15,000 for the next 17 weeks. Even on holiday, I'm going to be aiming for at least 15,000 steps a day on average across that timeline. I also do just really like walking, and my wife's the same. So hiking on holiday, going for a walk on a weekend, that's all perfectly fine by us. I will add in that I am also a bit of a desk worker in the afternoon. The other half of my business is with online clients, and therefore I can be sat literally at this desk for 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 hours in the afternoon and evenings, which then make it a little bit tougher to get my steps in. So 15K is a good target for me. And finally, where is my mindset at when it comes to the shred this year? Honestly, it's in a really good spot. And I'm not just saying that, but honestly, I genuinely believe the more times you go through a shred, the more times you learn to get lean or get lean and maintain that weight loss, just the easier it gets. It's not easy, like it's never going to be easy, but you just learn what works for you. I'm really fortunate now that I've done 4 photo shoots in the past. I've done a couple of lean downs for holidays in the past. So I've probably got pretty lean 5 or 6 times now. And it just means every time I come round to that goal, I can recall on what I've done in the past, what's worked for me, what I might need to tweak and refine a little bit this time round to still get great results. And that's a damn sight easier than how it felt the first time I ever wanted to get lean, where it literally felt like one of the hardest things ever. I now just know what works for me, but in my content, I want to show you how I do it, but also how you can apply the principles to your own life to also get great results. That's what I really want to do in these videos. Now, I'm currently sat at about 176 pounds. I will be taking some pictures and video footage to put up on future videos of where I'm currently at, but I'm probably about 4 to 5 pounds off where I'd like to be for the first trip. Now, at 176 pounds, I know if my body weight is between 166 to 170 pounds, I'm pretty lean, borderline shredded, in that kind of ballpark. From 170 to about 172, 173, I feel what I'd call beach lean. So feeling good, like feeling in good shape. So I'm only 3 to 4 pounds off where I'd like to be. That might not sound like much, but that means I've got to be really consistent, keep aiming to lose at least a pound a week all the way through till that first trip in 4 weeks' time to be where I want to be for that first holiday. The other thing to remember is I absolutely love gyros, and I've got to go for 2 weeks eating gyros Greek food, drinking Greek beer, and hopefully I don't do too much damage before I come back to then cut down for my second trip. Anyway, by the by, I also want you to know that this year's shred is going to be a little bit different to last year's shred. Now, I did a photo shoot prep last year and got really, really lean for it. And although it was great, this year's holiday prep is going to be a little bit different. And that's because I'm not doing cardio every single day this year. My work schedule, my kind of commitments to like not just work, but family, friends, other things I'm trying to do in my life are just more important. So I'm not going to be doing like cardio every single day like I would do in a shoot prep. So that's going to be different this year. On top of that, I'm going to be going out for food 2 to 3 times a month, at least, with friends, with family, where I'm going to be making positive decisions, still trying to make choices within my kind of calorie ranges and calorie targets to get results. But I'm also not going to be avoiding going out for these occasions because, like anybody, I like spending time with family and friends and going out for food. Not only that, I'm going to be doing this for the next 4 months over the whole summer. We've got the World Cup, so I really am treating it like a marathon and not a sprint. Fortunately, because I'm not too far away from my goal, that's another conversation about how to stay leanish throughout the year. But because I'm not too far away, I can take this slightly more relaxed approach and still get results. It's not like I've got to lose 10 kilos in 4 weeks, which is basically impossible for most people, bar a severe illness. And a couple of final notes from me to kind of give you the context of this shred. Full transparency, I don't really drink, especially in the UK. I have a drink on holiday, but I don't drink in the UK. This means that kind of getting leaner is so much easier for me because I just know I'm not going to be drinking alcohol each week up to my holiday. The other point I wanted to make clear as well is we don't really do takeaways anymore. We haven't for a couple of years now, and that's just because we think they're overpriced. We quite prefer our own cooking and we prefer to go out for dinner. So we don't really order takeaways as well as drinking on a week-to-week basis. So just bear in mind, this does make it easier on my end. You may not be in that position now, ever, or just yet. So I want to make it clear that like that's why it is a little bit easier. If you are in a household or someone who does order a weekly takeaway or does drink each week, it is going to play a bit of an effect on the speed of your results. There's just no denying that. But that doesn't mean you can't get results, and that's what I want to stress with this video. I'm all about managing expectations and just being totally honest and transparent with you about how I do it, how my clients do it, and what you may need to do to get results. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.